My husband, M32, and I, F31, share a beautiful 4-year-old daughter. At the onset, our relationship sparkled, but as time passed, subtle arguments emerged. Ever since our daughter arrived, he's become increasingly distant. Instead of spending quality time with us, he's immersed in video games or glued to YouTube, watching others play. It's a routine, gaming or YouTube. Our social circle is quite close-knit, a group I melded into through marriage. 14 of us, all interconnected from high school or even elementary years, forming a tight bond. I'm the only one who came into this circle from the outside. About 8 months ago, a couple from this group moved into a house near us. The serendipity of proximity sparked a newfound friendship between our daughters. They've grown inseparable and recently began sharing the same interest in dance, attending the 8 a.m. Saturday classes together, accompanied by the other dad. I befriended SM31 nearly a decade ago when my husband and I got together. Our initial interaction occurred during a class break, spending the hour together in a separate waiting room away from the main hall. Initially, it was marked by awkward silence until S, a humorous person, made the time fly by with his company. Eventually, he suggested grabbing coffee outside the room, and although stuck in traffic on our way there, we managed to enjoy a brief 20-minute chat in his car. This became a regular routine, but one particular week, my unease grew, prompting me to opt for the drive-thru instead of sitting inside the cafe. What ensued was unexpectedly delightful as we shared nostalgic songs from our childhood, making each subsequent weekly meetup over the past 8 months equally enjoyable. Strangely, I haven't mentioned any of this to my husband. After losing my father a few months back, my husband's lack of empathy left me stunned and hurt. His absence of support or comfort during my grieving process was bewildering. I couldn't fathom how the man I married could be so emotionally distant precisely when I needed him the most. I found solace in S, who became my pillar of support during this difficult time. In his embrace, I shed tears countless times, something I couldn't do around my husband without feeling his disapproval. S became my confidant, and in our conversations, I opened up about the profound loneliness I felt at home with my husband. S, being incredibly understanding, suggested seeking help from a marriage counselor. I attempted to discuss this with my husband, but he adamantly refused the idea. S, on the other hand, expressed his surprise and concern about my husband's behavior, even making remarks to him, though unfortunately, my husband seemed oblivious to the underlying issues. Gradually, I've realized my feelings toward my husband have waned, perhaps fading long before my father's passing. In contrast, I found myself deeply drawn to S, experiencing strong emotions that have taken me by surprise. I'm overwhelmed by guilt, confusion, and a mix of emotions, yet everything seems to fade away when I'm around him. I need to emphasize that S has never crossed any boundaries or made me uncomfortable. There's been no hint of inappropriate behavior, no suggestive remarks, no lingering stares, nothing that would suggest ulterior motives on his part. It's hard to admit, but the only reason we haven't moved beyond friendship is because he's never initiated anything. I'm terrified because the way he affects me. I fear I wouldn't resist if he did make a move. At times, after our encounters, I found myself wishing he had taken that step. Acknowledging this makes me feel like a terrible person. It's puzzling, considering it's just an hour every weekend we spend together, but it's spilled into other areas, meeting at our kids' clubs, coinciding at the nursery, and even aligning our dog walking schedules just to have the chance to see each other. If there's any excuse to be in his presence, I find it and use it, and that realization troubles me deeply. I'm aware this situation isn't good, and I acknowledge the need for action, but when it comes down to it, I often find myself paralyzed, simply because I don't want to confront it. Later on, I'm locked in a mental struggle, urging myself to address the issues, whether that's actively working on my marriage or considering separation. I'm tempted to confide in S about my feelings, but I fear looking foolish or worse, scaring him away. What if this revelation jeopardizes his marriage? What if our kids' interactions are affected? In the broader friend circle, what chaos might it bring? It's a tangled mess, and I'm at a loss about what steps to take, especially considering the frequent encounters we'll still have. My husband's reluctance to attend our daughter's classes leaves me with that responsibility, and I'm always the one doing the nursery runs. How do I move past these feelings when he's constantly around? Update: yesterday followed my usual routine. our evening walk with the dogs, returning home, and getting ready for bed. Just as I was about to turn in, S texted me, asking if I used Reddit. My heart sank at the question. I admitted to using it and inquired why he asked. He sent me a link to my post and asked if it was mine. Feeling exposed, I confirmed it was me and braced for the worst. His response was a simple wow. Minutes later, another text arrived, reassuring me not to stress. He promised not to divulge anything, suggesting I take the night to myself, ponder things, and that we'd talk today. This morning, he assured me that we'd work things out, assuring me everything would be okay but stressing the need for boundaries moving forward. Last night was chaotic for me, and although I managed to calm down after a few hours, sleep eluded me. As I scrolled through my messages, seeing my husband asleep on the other side of the bed, an inexplicable surge of anger consumed me. This morning, that resentment hasn't subsided, and I've made the decision not to discuss it with him. Our relationship is over. While he's out, I'm taking steps to organize my departure swiftly. Today, I'm arranging temporary accommodation and reaching out to lawyers. I can sense a wave of relief on the horizon, and nothing he says will alter my decision to leave. If he inquires, I'll mention that someone has made me realize the life I envisioned with him isn't the life I desire. However, I won't disclose any further details. He's had numerous opportunities to step up, yet time and again, his selfishness has let down both me and our daughter. It's clear he won't change. I haven't had a chance to talk to S today, and I'm uncertain how things will unfold between us. I genuinely hope we can sustain our friendship, but I completely understand if he needs some distance. I harbor no ill feelings towards him. Despite what advice I've received, I want to emphasize, I have no intention to interfere in anyone's marriage, as mentioned in my previous post. I might share another update, but I'm undecided as the last one was challenging to manage. I can't pinpoint the exact day, but I'm committed to having the necessary conversation before Friday arrives. My husband has been persistently trying to reach out to me, despite my clear stance that our communication should solely revolve around our daughter. I've grown weary of his excuses, and it has only reaffirmed my decision to part ways. It seems he's going through a rough time. On my second night away from home, S messaged me to inform me that my husband was at their place, deeply upset. It's a bit uncomfortable. It appears he's seeking solace and support from them, and, from what I've heard, he's willing to go to great lengths to win me back. It's quite perplexing given the numerous messages he's sent, expressing how both our daughter and I have supposedly ruined his life, asserting he never desired any of this. Thankfully, I've received ample support from friends and family, much to his discontent. While my interactions with S have been restricted, he still reaches out occasionally to ensure our well-being and offer any assistance my daughter and I might require. S and I recently had a conversation, and we've both come to the conclusion that I'm grappling with limerence. I made it clear once again that my intention isn't to pursue a romantic relationship with him, emphasizing the fragile state of mind I've been in for an extended period. Navigating this situation is made even more challenging by considering his wife's feelings. I feel terrible about it and fully understand if neither of them wishes to maintain our friendship. She hasn't been informed yet, but I plan to discuss it once things have settled down a bit. My feelings have shifted, and I no longer perceive this as love. Instead, it's as if he illuminated a path, revealing that the way we were living wasn't healthy or normal. He helped me realize I deserve better. While my husband also has his own struggles, they won't resolve themselves, and I can't waste my life waiting for a change that might never come. I genuinely hope he seeks the necessary help for his own sake and especially for our daughter. She shouldn't have to take a backseat to video games and YouTube in her father's life. Thanks for watching. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on the channel. Write your opinion in the comments. Love you.